Hello and welcome to your Earth Science class for today. I've done a lot of research and looking into this lesson for today. It's all about the sun. Now, it's been summertime and it's been very hot. And we've had a lot of experience with the sun. Matter of fact, it's been 30-something days with no measurable rain. It's Alabama. It's hot in the summertime. Why is it hot in the summertime? Why is it cold in the winter? These are all questions we'll answer throughout the year, but hot in the summertime is all because of the sun. And we like the sun. We enjoy the sun's rays. We enjoy the radiation that it gives us, even though it's a bad thing, but it always makes us feel good and it helps make vitamin D. But what do you really know about the sun? I know it's a great big burning ball of gas up there in the atmosphere somewhere, right? It's in space. What do we really know about it? The ancient Greeks thought that Apollo pulled it across the sky every morning and took it across the sky and put it to bed every night. That was Apollo's job. We thought the sun revolved around the earth for a long time. Now we know that the earth revolves around the sun. But what do we actually know about the sun? Well, today's class will begin with some of those things we need to know about the sun. The sun is huge. In diameter, it would equal 109 Earths. That means that the diameter of the Earth would have to be duplicated 109 times to equal the diameter of the sun. That's enormous. Not only is its diameter great, its mass is extraordinary. It is 330,000 times. That's 330,000 times larger than the Earth. Now you should remember from earlier classes and earlier years of study something called gravity, right? It's what holds us to the earth. But Galileo pontificated that gravity was held between all things, and Newton wrote a law about that, saying that gravity was expressed by any object that had mass, which means that everything has gravity. But since we're on Earth, we can't feel the gravity of other things. But what affects Earth? The sun. The sun affects the Earth. The sun is so large, it's constantly pulling it towards it. Now, why don't we just fly into the sun? Well, that's a great question for your physics teacher, but I'm going to answer it. We don't fly into the sun because of centrifugal force. As we get closer and closer to it, we accelerate and we get thrown out the other side of our orbit until we get far enough away that we have to reaccelerate back towards the sun. And so it's a perpetual motion, and it's a perpetual cycle. As we get closer to the sun, we get thrown further away. Wait a second. Does that make you think about the seasons? At some point in time, we might get warmer and colder. Yeah, these things all play a part in that. Also, the axis of the Earth in its elliptical year or going around the sun changes things. When the Earth is tilted away from the sun, we have winter, and when it's tilted towards the sun, we have summer. And that massive ball of burning gas brings us light. But what you may not know is the sun has an atmosphere. It's created with layers. And one of those layers, one of the most important layers for us as living creatures on the earth, is what's called the photosphere. Now, photo meaning light, sphere meaning circle. Break the words down. Photosphere would be the layer that produces light. Well, the sun's constantly giving off energy, so it's constantly giving off light. But the photosphere is important because it gives off the light that we actually see. There are other rays of light that are being emitted from the sun that we as human beings have no ability to see. But the photosphere is where we, human beings and animals on Earth, get the majority of our visible light. Now that's something very important. If you're taking notes, I would make sure I wrote that down. The photosphere is where we get most of our visible light from. The outer layers are made of light that we do not see, or they produce the light that we do not see. The chromosphere is a layer outside the photosphere and can only be seen when the sun is in an eclipse. It has large haloing and gas expansion going out around the sun. Matter of fact, it is extraordinarily large, extending a long distance, several million kilometers outside of the photosphere. The last layer of the sun, and where we will wrap up our discussion for today, is what's called the chromosphere, or the corona. The corona is the outermost layer of the sun. It actually extends several million kilometers from the edge of the chromosphere. Now, million kilometers, that's an extraordinarily long way. Million kilometers, let that sink in real quick. The sun's energy rays, they can be as much as 15,000 degrees Kelvin, extend millions of kilometers outside of the surface or the photosphere shell of the sun. And that's an amazing thing. You know, we get all of our energy from the sun, and now we may see a little bit more why. But the corona has one last major interesting thing to me about it. It can only be viewed for a fraction of a moment in time when we have a 100% complete eclipse. And only during the time of the complete eclipse can the corona be viewed. Now, if you remember back in 2016, we had this great opportunity here in Alabama and across the southeastern United States to view a complete and total solar eclipse. Now, it's the only one I remember in my lifetime coming over this area. And so it was a major deal in 2016. And for only a few minutes, you could actually see, if you look through protective lenses, the waves of light that were around where the moon passed directly in front of the sun. Now, this was a great experience if you got to go and watch it. But you got to see something that can only be seen through specialized photography equipment or under that few moments in time where the sun's photosphere is completely covered by the moon. This concludes our first discussion on the sun. We will have several more in days to come. Please make sure you're following on your Google Classroom work. We're going to have a Google Meet on Wednesday. I will expect everybody to be there. If you have any questions, email me, contact me through Google Classroom, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for watching.